going on? It's Coach Luca here with
Coach Kelsey.
And we're going to go into 2 lunges that are a little bit more, I wouldn't say advanced, but not used enough,
Right.
okay? Not used enough. So the lateral lunge and a rotational lunge Cossack squat. Now this is the importance of, everybody, this is sagittal plane, right? This is geeky talk, but meaning forward, backward. And most people live here. You squat, you deadlift, you lunge, right? But there's not enough movement in, I would say, this frontal plane. So side, transverse plane, right? Where we're in this rotational kind of space. And it's very important, not only for performance, but to stay away from nagging injuries, because if you constantly do the same repetitive movements, you get beat up, right? So these, not only are these lunges that we're gonna show very effective, because they're great for hamstrings, adductors, the groin area, glutes. They're also great, like I said, for joint health. So we're gonna start with the side lunge and go over the coaching cues on this. Personally, the side lunge is more, think of it more hingy than squatty. I mean, there's 2 ways that you can do it. So think hinge more deadlift, squat more squat. So I can go into a hingy side lunge, or I can go into a squatty one. So notice my knees falling forward, I'm squatting more into this one, okay? So we're gonna cover the hingy one more. We'll cover both, but we'll go over the hingy one more on this one. So I still want to be able to see the logo on Kelsey's chest, right? When she's gonna go down into this. The other part is feet have to face forward, okay? For you to get the most stretch and the best positions, I'm gonna step into a side lunge. My feet are gonna face forward. I'm gonna push my butt back like I'm gonna deadlift, right? So think trap bar deadlift. You can still see the logo on my chest. And I'm gonna push through the inside. So imagine there's a $100 bill on the inside of my foot. I'm gonna press to that because it's gonna align my hips. For most people, the knee's gonna start falling out. So I'm gonna push through the inside here, keep this knee locked out as much as I can so I get this big stretch, and then I'm gonna push back to that midline, okay? So how far out you step is dependent on a couple of things. Just your anatomy, how tight you are, right? So we don't wanna step out crazy wide because we want to be able to have the knee aligned with the toe. Okay, so Kelsey's gonna step out, butt back, good. Turn this toe in a little bit, there you go. And so this is probably, she's feeling her heel, and you feeling that big stretch in the groin area?
Oh yeah.
And coming back up. There we go. So one of the things I'd usually do on a hingy one is as she steps, so step to the side, not have her knee fall too much forward, so her butt's gonna go back. You can see the logo on her chest, and then she's gonna come back out of it. Boom, let's go one more. There we go, nice. So very important, like I said, feet facing forward, push, even for me, when I step out, you can see how it kind of wants to roll.
Right.
So pushing into the big toe, inside of that heel, now it aligns my foot, feels much better on the hips too, right? So that's a very, very important cue on that one. Now, if we were gonna do this, actually grab that 25, just one, and so Kelsey's gonna go that side lunge with a reach, okay? And then we're gonna go one with just a goblet position.
Okay.
Just to show there's a lot of different variations what we can do. So she's gonna step, reach, okay? Love this variation, by the way. You can do it with one dumbbell. Get a little bit of rotation there, same cues. All right, pop up to a goblet position. All right, so if you got a kettlebell, if you got a dumbbell, obviously puts you a little bit more upright automatically, which is perfectly fine. Boom. There we go. And putting it back down.
Okay.
How many?
So you're gonna do all these reps.
All right, do another 5 with 2. So you can see, obviously, depending on the tool, you can have a kettlebell, two dumbbells. This works great, right? From here, now the rotational one, okay? And I'm gonna, this for many is called also a Cossack squat, because imagine starting in this normal, I'm facing you position, and if I was thinking about, I'm in the middle of a clock, right? This is 3 o'clock, I'm gonna go to about 4 or 5 o'clock here, right? So, here, right? So if I'm on a dial, like I said, 3 is here, 3 is our lateral lunge, right? Well, we're gonna go to 4:35-ish, right? So we're gonna open up, boom. Now the thing on the rotational one is that this foot is gonna come up, right? Or the Cossack squat. And I'm gonna sit down while, like I said, this toe points up. Now, if you have a lot of restriction here, okay, you're gonna feel that and you might not be able to go as low, which is okay. Go as low as you can go on this, okay? And if I have a weight, so I'm gonna do an example of if I'm, let's say, in a goblet position here, boom. I'm gonna go to 430 right here, open up, stay upright. I'm feeling my heel, right? So on this one, my whole foot's on the ground, because for many people it's gonna wanna come off the ground. Don't let it come off the ground, right? I'm here, whoop.
Tipping over.
Tipping over. Great example of like what will happen, okay? So I'm here, upright, punching back up, okay? So perfect example for me also tipping over is what would be something that will give you some more stability on that, okay? So let's say a box or anything else that you can keep your hands on. So let's say I'm standing here, I'm gonna go to that 430, boom. Now I have this, okay? And I can literally just keep my hands on it. I can keep stability. I can come out of it. Boom, okay? So I'm gonna have Kelsey do this. Probably not fall on her butt like I did.
No promises.
Be more effective. It's real time, it's real time. So just body weight first. And like I said, depending on the restriction, you don't have to go as low. Go as low as you can go, right? 430. Toe goes up, nice. There you go. And on this one, you can push that knee a little bit further forward and stay more upright, more squatty in this. Nice. All right, so let's give Kelsey this dumbbell. So for the goblet position, so this will allow her to stay a little bit more upright on this. There we go. And you can see her core is nice and stacked there. Perfect. Let's do one more. And break.
It's not easy.
No, it's a pretty challenging variation, but here's the thing. It's worthwhile, I would say, using something and still doing it. Meaning, you might be like, oh, I'm super tight, so I can't do it. You can have a bigger box, bigger chair. Just start working on, like I said, just getting into this position. Maybe you get to here, and you're like, wow, this is tight for me. Okay, cool. Hang out for a couple seconds, and then come back up, right? Boom, hang out for a couple seconds, and then back up, right? And as you work this, you'll be able to go lower and lower and lower because, like I said, you'll start working mobility in that area, right? So don't stay away from it just because it looks challenging, because there are regressions like that we just went over, and you don't have to go as low because you're gonna work on that throughout the days, weeks, and months. And I promise you, if you get a really good range on this, your squat will improve, your deadlift will improve, your lunge will improve. It works a lot of areas, right? And it opens up the groin, works mobility to hip, works mobility to ankle. So both of these variations, plug them, even the rotational one, it's a little more challenging, but like I said, you wanna work these different planes of motion for yourself so that you also have healthy joints and like not overuse, the same movement patterns.
So then, we did the lateral lunge in kind of two different ways with more of a hingey and then more of a squatty, and then we did the rotational. So when you're doing these different variations of this, where should people be focusing on feeling it and the benefits of that?
Okay. So if you're doing, put it this way, the more hingy that it is, you're gonna feel more of the hamstrings and glutes.
And by hingy, you're meaning hips are back?
Hips are back, like more deadlifty variation, right? So if I push my hips further back, you're gonna feel a bigger stretch, butt, hamstrings, groin area. Yep. If I go into a little bit more of a squatty variation and I push the knee forward, you're gonna feel that a little bit more in the quads. You're still gonna feel some hamstrings and glutes, but much more in the quads and then still that groin area, right? So think the more you push your hips back, more stretch you get in glutes and hamstrings, adductors. The more you push that knee forward, the more you're gonna get the quad and also calf and ankle, I would say mobility is gonna get worked on those different ones.
And that's another great example of where there's a few different ways to do things and you can just target different areas for, if you're wanting to feel it more in your glutes and hamstrings.
Absolutely.
Or if you're wanting to feel it more in your quads. And it's not necessarily right or wrong, it's just a little bit different.
Exactly, perfect example. If you're somebody that's like, hey, I gotta work on my strength on my backside, you'd probably go more hingy. If you wanna stretch certain areas out, like, hey, my groin is really, really tight, okay, you're gonna probably go more hingy here and get that lockout and work on that, which is great because you can still do that same movement pattern and just shift a little bit depending on what it is that you want and or, is it something that's, you have a restriction on? Is your knee hurting? Do a more hingy one, right? You can still do it and you can still implement it into your program. With that said, make sure you try these out. Try out the hard stuff too, guys. Let us know how you did. Let us know how it feels. We'll see you back with some more coaching tips.